Hey, folks, I just want to take care of something here right before we get on with the show. First off, I want to welcome back as a sponsor and supporter of the podcast, our friends at Comedy Central. And second, if you have not checked out At Midnight with Chris Hardwick on Comedy Central, I highly advise you to do so. It features a lot of great comedic talent, many of whom have been featured on this here show. It is also responsible for many hashtag situations on the Twitter that I get involved with occasionally. So do yourself a favor and check out At Midnight. You can figure out what time it airs. Okay? All right, let's do my show now. You want to? Let's do it. Come on, let's do my show.
Lock the gate!
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fuck sticks, what the fuckstables, what the fuckadelics? This is Marc Maron. This is WTF. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here. I am fairly exhausted, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to put out a good show for you. That doesn't mean I'm not going to show up for work here. See what happens when you hang out with Andy Kindler? That doesn't mean that I'm not going to ba-ba-ba-ba. Andy's been working with me on my show, Maron, that airs on IFC, but is also now airing, available on the Netflix in the America. Yeah, so you can watch the entire first season on Netflix if you haven't involved yourself with that, or if you missed it on IFC. I'm thrilled that people are digging the show. How about some more Marc Maron publicity? Okay, I'll do it. You don't have to twist my arm. If you didn't get to see my special Thinky Pain on Netflix because you're not a Netflix person or what have you, well, Thinky Pain's available. You can go to Amazon and get it. But I'm going to do a big release. I'm going to do a big release on Monday. A big release. So this is like the pre-release. Okay, so let's play it like this. Hey, I got this special. If you didn't see a Thinky Pain, between me and you, it's available at Amazon, the DVD of it. Okay, I'm going to put it on the website and everything else on Monday. So this is just between us. All right, so you can tell your friends, but don't tell everybody. All right? Did I mention that Harry Dean Stanton? I interviewed Harry Dean Stanton today. I went to his house, and after that, I was so troubled on some level that I interviewed Sophie Huber, the director of the documentary Partly Fiction that she directed about Harry Dean. It's more of a cinematic portrait of Harry Dean. It's quite a beautiful movie. But I needed to get her in here after I talked to him to help me understand him. Turns out she's been trying to understand him for decades, or a long time, and that we were sort of in the same boat. I'm not poo-pooing the situation or the interview because I did get to sit next to Harry Dean Stanton at his house and watch him smoke cigarettes while I tried to get him to answer questions. And there is nothing not amazing about sitting next to Harry Dean Stanton and watching him smoke cigarettes. Engaging in a sort of a relatively back-and-forth conversation would have been nice, but you can't always get what you want, folks. No matter how hard you try. I'm not knocking it. I think Harry Dean gave me Harry Dean, or he gave me the Harry Dean that he wants to give, but I can't say it was a smooth sailing and the most comfortable interview that I've ever done. But again, sitting next to Harry Dean Stanton and watching him smoke cigarettes was a great thing. Up close. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. What does that mean? Dozens of people sent me this article. Comedians may be more disposed to high levels of psychotic personality traits. No shit! What do you think this is, some sort of mystery that some comedians are a little troubled? I'm glad that they did a survey, that they've substantiated it with some hokum. Researchers, this is filed by Keith Perry. Comedians may be disposed to high levels of psychotic personality traits, a study has found. Research published in the Britain Journal of Psychiatry found that an unusual personality structure with traits similar to bipolar disorder could be the secret of being funny. Tell my dad, please. If this article does anything, could you please prove to my father that I'm not like him? I love him, but I'm not like him. I'm not bipolar. Apparently, I'm just funny. The researcher said the belief that creativity is associated with madness has increasingly been researched by psychologists and psychiatrists, yet added, quote, comedy and humor have been largely neglected, unquote. Obviously, not all comedians are like this, but the trend does seem these personality traits are more common. It is the idea of the sad clown. Well, thank you, genius. Glad you fleshed that out. Those with bipolar disorder can be prone to comedy as it mimics the comic's ability to combine, quote, ideas or categories of thought to form new and original connections, unquote. Oh, so you just explained creativity. Wonderful. The questionnaire measured 4 personality aspects. Okay, let's do it. Let's do the questionnaire with these aspects. Unusual experiences, such as belief in telepathy and paranormal events. I've been there. I'm out of that game now. Okay, I've pulled out, but I understand it. Not saying it's not possible, but I'm saying that when I think about it, it leads nowhere good. Okay? That's right, I'm reading your mind right now, and the ships are coming. But again, that's between us. Difficulty in focusing thoughts or distractibility. Difficulty in focusing thoughts or distractibility. I don't have that. An avoidance of intimacy. Yes. Not with you guys, though, but, with people that are immediately in my life and close to me on a one-to-one basis. But with you guys, we're cool, man. I mean, I was naked last week. A tendency towards impulsive and antisocial behavior. These people can go fuck themselves because this is a ridiculous test. Fuck them and fuck tests and fuck corporations and fuck my parents. How'd they get lumped in? So, no, I don't have that one. The comedian scored particularly high on personality traits such as being unsociable and depressive, as well as more extrovert, manic-like traits. Well, I think that this is it's whatever. It's a report. You can't throw away. Everyone was like, hey, look, comedians are psychotic. No. If you read the DSM-2, the big book of disorders, everybody's got a little something. Don't hang labels on people. Don't hang a label on a person. They might have some of this, they might have some of that, but no one's all of this. And when you meet somebody who's all of that, you know it. Some people are a little narcissistic. Some people are a little sociopathic. Some people a little psychotic. Some people a little bipolar. Some people have serious problems, more specific problems. But don't hang the labels, people. What guy who has broken up with a woman has not been called a sociopath? That word gets a little too much play. Pow! I just shit my pants. Watch it. Watch it. Look, I'm just saying. There's a real narcissist is creepy. I know. I lived with one. Grew up with one. Difficult. Real sociopaths, creepy. Super creepy. You know who you are. Yep. You know what? You don't, actually. Real bipolar people, it's a heavy burden. No doubt. But what I'd like to extrapolate or glean from this study is that I'm not bipolar. I'm funny. And I've been diagnosed by a study. Similar to bipolar traits, but not bipolar. Okay? Not bipolar, funny, don't need the medicine. Here's something exciting. Would you like to be excited? We have a new sponsor today. That's right. Earthquaker Devices. Pedals, baby. Guitar pedals, man. You want to know what an Earthquaker device is? Well, if you're looking for some good fuzz or delay or some boost on your guitar, you'll want to get to know Earthquaker Devices. I got a bunch of them right here. My thing with pedals is I get them, like when I was a kid, I got the MXR Distortion, I got the MXR Phase 90, I got a Crybaby Wah-Wah pedal. All of them are gone. And then Earthquaker says, check these out. And I'm like, holy shit, look at the knobs on that thing. Look at the buttons. There's artwork on the box. Not just the box, but on the device itself. I got a Grand Orbiter phase machine. I got a Hoof Reaper. I don't even know what this one does yet because there's too many knobs for me. And I got a Dispatch Master. It's a repeater. It's like bang, 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 But man, I plug in this phase one, the phase machine, and it's beautiful. All right, this is between us. Look, if you're just an okay guitar player like me, or you just noodle a little bit, if you plug into a Hoof Reaper or a Grand Orbiter phase machine, you're a fucking genius, man. If you plug into this Dispatch Master, the repeater, you can just noodle with yourself as it kind of loops around, and you're like, wow, man. Some of my heroes probably don't even know how to play guitar that good. They just had a box. They just had a pedal. The great thing about Earthquaker is that they're basically a small operation out of Akron, Ohio, and they make some amazing shit, man. And I'm hoping they stick with me because I want more stuff. Earthquaker has been building innovative effect pedals by hand in Akron, Ohio since 2004. Their pedals have been getting great reviews in the top guitar industry publications and by me now. Oh, yeah, folks, if you're at the NAMM show down the street in Anaheim this weekend, you can check them out at booth number 2884. They'll be introducing the Terminal Destructive Fuzz device, I'm in, and Pitch Pay Dirty Polyphonic Harmonizer. I guess those will be released to the public in February, but the names are good. Go to earthquakerdevices.com to find out more, locate a store near you, and get some great pedals for your guitar. Be a genius! Be a genius in your garage! All right. That was a heartfelt plug there. Huh? Wouldn't you say? All right, let's talk about Harry Dean for a minute. All right, because this is one of those interviews where it was tricky. I saw the film, Sophie Huber's film, partly fiction, and I loved it. I love Harry Dean. Who doesn't love Harry Dean who likes movies or who is alive? Harry Dean has been this sort of enigmatic figure in film for, decades. The first time I remember seeing him maybe was in Aliens, but then you see him everywhere. He was in Cool Hand Luke. He was in Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. He was in Dillinger. He was in Cockfighter, the Monty Hellman film. Godfather Part 2 is the FBI guy. Remember? He was in The Missouri Breaks. Great fucking movie. Marlon Brando, Jack Nicholson. Great. Paris, Texas was a big one. Repo Man. He was recently on Big Love as the main creepy Mormon dude. He's one of America's greatest character actors. If you listen to my Ed Begley episode, him and Ed Begley used to hang out and had a great time back in the day, late 60s and 70s. And here's my point. I'm sure Harry Dean Stanton has a few people in his life that he talks to. I was not one of them, really. Let me set the scene for you. So I get an opportunity to interview Harry Dean. So because of the film, partly fiction, I watched the film, and quite honestly, it's a beautiful portrait of this man, but it is not a heavy dialogue movie. Even in the documentary, this cat ain't talking much. So after I saw that, after I'd set up the interview, I'm like, well, if that's the most she got out of him, this is not going to be easy. But I want to meet Harry Dean. I want to hang out with Harry Dean. So I go to Harry Dean's house up in the hills. And, I go in, and there he is. He's just waking up, basically. He's been up maybe an hour. He's smoking cigarettes. He's having some coffee. I set up my mics. He's old, man. He's like in his 80s. And he's got this little house up there. And I just start in, and I'm not getting much. But if you listen, if you sort of read between the lines, you will get Harry Dean. You will get the Harry Dean that Harry Dean wants you to know. And I thought it was an amazing experience, so I became very frustrated and flustered and left feeling defeated, but still curious. But even this morning, it was last night, actually, I went to bed, and I was overwhelmed with a melancholy, a word I like to use, because I started thinking about my life and everything I've done in my life and everyone I've met in my life and all the different phases and periods of my life. I'm 50 years old. They're stacking up. Phases and periods, places, people, events, disappointments, successes. They're starting to sort of smear into a kind of memory stew, but you can access them. And sometimes it's overwhelming to think like, well, I'm more than halfway done here, and what have I got? What have I done? I'm not saying I don't got much, but when you go over the life, you're like, wow, do you remember that the way that thing tasted in 1984? Do you remember the smell of that summer night when you were covered in sweat and felt like a superhero? They come over you. And, after talking to Harry Dean, after talking to him, I wonder if that's going on or if, he just sort of exists on this other plane within his mind. It's very compelling, but a bit frustrating for me. It was interesting to sit there in this little house with the bits and pieces of his life that he chose to surround himself with. Not a lot. Because there's that taste of old Hollywood. There's a taste, you're looking at a guy that's seen a lot, that's lived the life, and that's lived it with some of your heroes, and that's lived it, as himself being the amazing actor that he is. And you want stories. But, when you're in your 80s and someone's like, come on, man, tell me about Nicholson. Do you really want to do that? I mean, time is of the essence in the way that, how much you gonna waste telling stories as opposed to just living? How many stories do you have? Even if you have 100 stories, sometimes it's better just to keep them to yourself and think about them or just access those memories and sit with them than tell them. You definitely feel the weight with Harry Dean Stanton, and I hope you enjoy this or understand where I'm coming from with this. And after I talked to Harry Dean, I talked to Sophie Huber, the woman who directed the film. Before we get to Harry Dean here, can I just say I know that a lot of people are out in the snow, bearing the winter, and winter weather can severely impact the way we do business. Roads are closed, flights get canceled, people stay home sick, so be prepared. Sign up for GoToMeeting with HD Faces by Citrix, the powerfully simple way to meet and collaborate online. No matter what the weather is like, you'll always be able to meet face-to-face with your team, or family even. You can sign up for GoToMeeting from your computer or mobile device and launch your first meeting in seconds, folks. Then no matter where you are, you'll be instantly connected to the people you need to meet with. Share your screen to collaborate on projects in real time, and just turn on your webcams to see each other face to face. So even when you can't make it into the office, you can still meet in person and be productive. My producer, Brendan, works out of New York. I'm in L.A. We've got people we work with in Chicago, San Francisco, New Jersey. What do you think, we can all fly around whenever we need to meet? No. GoToMeeting. Start your free 30-day trial of GoToMeeting today. There's no credit card required to get started. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code WTF. That's GoToMeeting.com, promo code WTF. Here's the interesting thing, folks, with Harry Dean Stanton, is that about midway through the interview, this was one of those moments where I'm like, well, Maron, this was the real test to your particular style of talking with other people. Because I did have a moment, and I'll be honest with you, between us, and my insecurity was, boy, maybe I should have prepared a few questions. Because there's a moment when my own personal needs from a conversation are what they are. I just like to connect. I like to engage. I like that on an emotional level. I'm not talking professionally. I need to do it. And in my life, in the life of this show, when I haven't been able to do it, I feel like I'm being abandoned by somebody. There's an emotional liability to it. I start to panic a bit. Why doesn't this person like me? Why doesn't he want to talk to me? Harry Dean Stanton didn't even really know who I was or what the podcast was. He didn't give a shit. He was trying to help this woman, Sophie, who he was romantically involved with for years before she made the documentary, which is a fascinating facet of the thing unto itself, that she wants to go after this, whatever she's been missing in the soul of this guy. So, well, have the experience for yourself. This is me and Harry Dean Stanton at his home. I'm watching him smoke cigarettes and trying to talk to him. His assistant is around as a buffer. And we did what we could. Okay, let's go there now. You've been in this house for 30 years.
Yeah, over 30 years.
Yeah?
I think I came here in, God, I can't remember now, 1957.
Is that when you first got out here?
That's when I first got out here, I think.
And do you remember?
No, I came out here in 1949 to Pasadena.
And that's, did you come out specifically to act?
Yeah, I went to Pasadena Playhouse.
And that was a scene, or was it just a theater?
Yeah, the theater school.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what was the first training like for you?
It was very comprehensive.
Did you do, like, classical stuff?
Oh, yeah, we did everything. Shakespeare, Chekhov, all the classics. And
where'd you come from originally?
Kentucky.
Kentucky?
Yeah.
Do you remember? Because I don't sense any sort of southern accent at all.
No, I had a lot of speech training.
You got rid of it?
Yeah.
But you can get it if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, I can talk like that flat right now. I can do any kind of accent.
Yeah. You have a knack for it.
Yeah.
Can you do Russian?
Yeah. See, Proschai. The Russian accent is that the accent? I don't know. I've never done a Russian accent.
How about Irish?
Oh yeah, Irish is very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Faith and Bigora. Faith and Bigora, and Bob's your uncle and Mary's your aunt.
Is there like a trick to it, or is it just a knack to it?
It's an ear for it.
Yeah.
Just an ear. I'm a singer too.
I know. I've heard some of your stuff. You like to sing in Spanish a lot.
Yeah, I'll sing Spanish, Italian.
Do you think there's
Croatian?
Oh, you do some Croatian songs?
Yeah.
Why Croatian?
I just picked it up. I was there, did a movie there. I think, what was the name of that movie? Clint Eastwood and Telly Savalas.
Kelly's Heroes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you liked Croatia, or there's something that connected with you about the music?
No, I just happened to pick up one of the songs. What was the song? What is that Croatian song? Mariane, 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 Chabarjake Vatski.
What does it mean?
It's a national song.
Oh, sort of like an anthem?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Spanish songs, I had a friend who lived in Spain for a couple of years, and he said that nobody really can speak about love like Spanish songs.
No, Mexican, especially Mexican mariachi songs.
They're painful in how much there's the heart is in them, huh?
Oh yeah, they're very a lot of feeling.
Yeah. In Kentucky, what was how did you grow up? What was the family situation? What did your parents do?
My father was a farmer and a barber. My mother was a hairdresser.
Did he work out of the house as a barber?
No.
Oh, he went to a shop.
Yeah.
The shop with the blue liquid and the combs and the
Yeah.
shares, and they do the
The
shave.
red pole.
Yeah, the whole
barber
thing.
pole, yeah.
Yeah, there are people trying to do that type of hair cutting now.
Yeah.
Nostalgic hair cutting.
Yeah.
What kind of farming did he do?
Tobacco, we grew tobacco.
You had the
As a
family
matter of
farm?
fact, I'll have a cigarette.
I appreciate your commitment to the cigarettes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'm sucking on nicotine lozenges, and they're not nearly as satisfying as cigarettes.
I know.
Have you ever tried to stop?
No, I don't want to stop. Fuck it.
No reason to stop now. Did like tobacco farming? He had his own fields and everything.
We had 10 acres, I think.
And did you guys dry the tobacco and everything? Did you cure it and hang it?
Oh yeah, hang it in the barn.
Yeah.
Let it dry out.
Did you? Was there ever sort of like? Did you smoke fresh tobacco back then? Could
No,
you do that?
My old man hated smoking.
Oh really?
Hated it. He was a barber. People would smoke in his chair, and he would take a little syringe and dab it on the end of their cigarette. When they weren't looking, they kept going out. They finally gave up.
And what made you leave Kentucky ultimately? Just to drive to act?
I wanted to be an actor. I came to Pasadena in 1949. I was in World War II.
What'd you do in the war?
I was on an LST in the Navy. Landing ship tanks.
Did you see action?
Yeah. Okinawa, Lingayen Gulf, and the Philippine Islands.
And what was your role on the boat?
I was a ship's cook, 3rd class.
Yeah.
Yeah, my uncle got me into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a cook in the Navy, 20-year man.
And to cook in the Navy, what'd you have to know?
Not a lot.
Yeah. The meat goes there.
It was good duty. You were on a day and off a day. It was the best duty in the Navy.
Yeah.
That's why you got me into it.
It was pretty. It was a little easier than some of the other people up front, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But when you guys were at Okinawa, did you have to, get off and shoot and?
No, we supplied ammunition for the British gunboats, 14-inch shells, 20-millimeter anti-aircraft shells, machine gun shells, everything.
How are you with boats now?
Boats?
Yeah.
I don't like the ocean.
Yeah.
That's for fish.
Yeah. There's something really scary about the ocean.
Yeah, it is.
I can't even swim in pools where I can't see the bottom. It gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
So when you came out here to do the Pasadena Playhouse, how soon before you started actually doing acting roles in
I was there 4 years at the Playhouse. 49, 52 or 3. I went back to Kentucky, did a play there at the college. I quit after 3 years in college. So I went back there and did a couple of plays. I got on a road tour, American Male Chorus.
Mm-hmm. What was that?
Had one pedophile in it.
Did it?
Yeah.
What was that? What was that? Was that a live show tour where you just do singing, or how did it work?
It was a choral group. We started out with about 20 people, ended up with 8. I think everybody started quitting.
Why?
Deserting.
Weren't selling tickets? What happened?
We'd go into towns and sing on the street, and have a concert at the end of the week.
So you'd go out to sing on the corner to promote the show, and see how many people would come from the town.
Yeah.
Did you finish college?
No, I only went 3 years.
Oh yeah, what were you studying?
I was studying. What did I study? God, what the hell did I study? I took music, I think, for music, and then, God, I can't remember.
Yeah. Wasn't acting, though.
No, I took a lot of speech lessons, and then I did a play.
Which play, do you remember?
Big Million, yeah.
Yeah?
Shaw. Played a Cockney, Alfred Doolittle.
Uh-huh.
With a Cockney accent.
Did your family come see you?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
And when you got out here, how long before you started getting roles?
Well, I was here 4 years at the Playhouse, and I went back east for 3 years. I was on that road tour, that American Male Chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it got back out to California, I quit too. I started in 1957, I think.
Doing television?
Yeah, I did a documentary, an Air Force documentary. Carried a stretcher.
And then what was the first bigger television roles?
I did a lot of Gunsmokes. I did a movie. I did one with Alan Ladd.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He was great, right?
Yeah, little guy.
Was he?
Stood on a box when he did scenes with women.
When he first saw that, did it shatter any illusions? Or
I
no?
didn't care one way or another.
No. It must have been kind of funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big movie stars that seem to be very small.
Yeah.
It's just something about how they look on screen, I guess.
Yeah, James Cagney was small. Mickey Rooney.
He was very tiny.
Yeah.
So when was the first, when did you start really locking in, when you realized it was all going pretty good?
Well, once I started, I never stopped.
I know you've done, do you even know how many movies you've done?
Over 200, maybe 250, I don't know. I lost count.
Early on, when you were doing the movies, was there a movie where you were like, "Oh my God, man, this is really happening"? Like did Cool Hand Luke? Did that have an effect?
Well, I did a lot of television.
Yeah. When you worked with Newman, was that a big deal?
Yeah. Well, it was just nice working with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Strother Martin.
Yeah.
He was funny. He was the warden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you guys buddies?
Oh yeah, he's easy to get along with.
He seems like a great guy. He was a Peckinpah guy, right? He's a lot of those Peckinpah movies.
One of my favorite scenes was when Ford came in. He said, Strother Martin said to Newman, said, "And what are you in for?" He said, "Cutting heads off parking meters." Said, "What was that? We ain't never had one of them before." Said, "Why'd you do that?" He said, "Just killing time." He said, "Well, you got some time to kill now. If you get your mind right, you'll get along all right with me."
Yeah. I guess maybe I romanticized that era of films in the late 60s and the 70s. I mean, that might have been a little earlier. But was there a community of cats that used to hang around back then? I mean, actors?
A what?
Like a community, you guys? Because I could see you and Strother Martin hanging out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we never hung out much.
No?
No.
How about Dillinger? How about Warren Oates? Were you guys friends?
Oh, yeah, we were big friends. He was from Kentucky, too. We were up for the same roles a lot of times.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And when you were in Dillinger, is that where you met him?
Let's see. No, I might have known him before that.
Mm-hmm.
He played Dillinger, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the lead, yeah. What determines whether or not you'll take a role or not?
The director, the actors, the script, mainly the script, and who's doing it, who's directing it.
And when you worked with like Dillinger, John Milius directed that. Do you have recollection of him?
Oh yeah, he used me. He was one of my biggest fans.
He's a smart guy, huh?
Oh yeah.
He seems like a fairly magnanimous guy. What makes a guy a good director?
Leave the actors alone.
Completely?
Yeah.
And
for the most part, or if they do give you direction, they know what they're saying.
Right. Like they're direct.
Yeah.
They know because obviously they've hired you for a reason, so they have to respect what you can do.
Yeah, and good directors hire actors that can do it on their own. Yeah.
And because you had a pretty big relationship with David Lynch, I saw the film and you talked to him.
Yeah.
What is it that makes you guys simpatico or connect?
He's just a very creative director. He's just a good director. That's all. A good writer, good director.
When you've read his scripts before you've done them, did they always make sense in your head?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that scene that you have in what's the name of that movie? No, I can't remember. The Straight Story.
Straight Story. Oh yeah, I had the last scene.
Right. It was like one scene.
Yeah, it was my favorite. One of my favorite movies.
It's the most powerful scene.
Yeah.
What do you like as an actor? What do you draw from when you sit there? I mean, how do you clear your mind?
Well, he called me up and told me, he said, I want you to be in my movie. You got the last scene in the movie, and I want you to cry.
And that's it. And that's what he said.
So he had me read this, what was that? It's on the wall in my bedroom. What's the name of that? Chief Seattle.
Uh-huh.
It was Franklin Pierce, I think, was the president. He was the first ones to be sent on a reservation.
Mm-hmm.
And Chief Seattle wrote him a letter. And it's a gorgeous letter, powerful letter. It made me cry. So he had me read that before I did the scene.
What was it about? Do you have the? Oh, it's pinned up over there, huh?
It's about. Read some of it, Logan. I can't read it.
So this is 1854, and he's in front of the President Franklin Pierce. How can you buy or sell the sky, the warmth of the land? The idea is strange to us. If we do not own the freshness of the air and the sparkle of the water, how can you buy them? Every part of the earth is sacred to my people, every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every clearing and hummingbird insect is holy in the memory and experience of my people. The sap which courses through the trees carries the memories of the red man.
Wow. So he just laid that on you, and it had not necessarily any bearing on the story itself, but on a view of the world.
It affected me, yeah.
Yeah. And do you think he knew that intuitively about you, or just?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you have do you feel a profound connection to the world like that, to wildlife and to everything else?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What was the when you started working with Wim Wenders on Paris, Texas? That was a pretty huge opportunity for you.
Yeah, that was my favorite film. Yeah.
Like I want to rewatch that movie. I haven't watched it in a while. How did you when that character was laid out to you, when you read that script, what was your first thought?
Well, Sam Shepard got me in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys friends?
Oh, yeah, we're good friends.
He seems like a solid man.
Oh, yeah, he's great, man.
Great writer.
Great writer. That's what made the film, his writing.
And what were the conversations you had with him about it?
Well, we were in New Mexico, I think, or Albuquerque, and we were drinking one night, and I said I wish I could get a film that with some sensitivity to it and intelligence and on and on. I wasn't even thinking about, I wasn't trying to get a job from him.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I came back, and a week later he called me and said, I want you to be in this film. Wim Wenders thought I was too old for it. I think I was 57 years old then.
And Sam fought for you?
Yeah, well, the Wim Wenders came here twice and talked to me about it, and after the second time, he knew it was all right.
Yeah, that movie is almost a Western.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of a Western.
And that character, did you have, and I don't know how you work as an actor, but did you have any sense, outside of an emotional sense, of where that guy came from? Did you have a story in your mind?
No, it was all written.
But like when he arrived out of the desert, you know, when he sort of showed up, did you have an idea in your head of where he might have been?
Where who?
That character, because he just sort of he appears.
Yeah, we had this, what do they call it? This, when you don't talk, it's, what's that medical condition? Trauma, something.
Uh-huh.
There was a girl in the film, Allison Anders, and she was a student at UCLA. And she told me she had that, that condition.
Uh-huh.
And I asked her why she didn't talk. And she said, I thought if I said anything, I would lose it. Freak out.
So that's what you went into it with?
Yeah.
Because, like, it's one of those stories, like a lot of Sam Shepard's plays, they have this father figure who is, has some dark past. But I guess as the story unfolds in that film...
Yeah, his father was a big influence on him. His father was a drunk.
Yeah, and I think that character was based on him a bit, right?
Yeah, he's kind of he's pretty crazy, his old man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was yours?
Huh?
Was your father crazy?
No, he was sober and didn't smoke or drink.
Yeah. And that's your mom? That's a picture of your mom there?
Yeah.
That's a great picture.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people first saw you in Repo Man.
Yeah.
And Aliens.
Yeah, Repo Man it's my other favorite film.
Alex Cox.
Yeah, Alex Cox.
I wonder what he's been up to. I haven't seen anything.
I don't know. He's kind of a nut, too.
Is he?
But he's very talented.
And that movie, it was a comedy, basically.
Satire.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't have any problem playing comedy? Is there a difference?
No, the satire is beautiful satire. He satirized everything, religion, violence, everything.
What kind of director was he? What made him crazy?
He's just egomaniacal in a way.
Uh-huh.
But he's still super talented.
And with Aliens, that was a huge movie.
Yeah.
Did you?
That was Ridley Scott.
Yeah. Did you enjoy working with him?
Oh yeah.
Did you? Was that the first time you were on a spaceship?
On a what?
On a spaceship?
Yeah. Yeah. When he first interviewed me, I said I don't like horror films or science fiction films. He said, "Well, actually, I don't either, but I think I can make something of this one." And he showed me this big brochure, all these big colored layouts.
Uh-huh.
I said, wow, have you guys got enough money to do this film? That's one reason he hired me, because I was worried about the money.
I thought, this guy's not going to waste any film.
No.
When you did the Pledge with Sean Penn and Jack Nicholson, well, actually, was the first movie you did with Jack Nicholson, The Missouri Breaks?
Ride the Whirlwind.
And and you guys were pretty tight, right?
Oh yeah, we used to live together years ago, before he made it.
Was that a good time?
Yeah, it was It was rough at times.
Why?
Well, it's just the usual roommate arguments and
Oh, really?
yeah.
It would seem kind of menacing to fight with Jack Nicholson, I would think, even over milk or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Were you living with him when he made his first big movie?
Yeah, he did Easy Rider, I think.
Oh, really?
That's the one that got him started. Yeah.
And that's when you were living with him?
Yeah.
Did you know Dennis Hopper?
Oh yeah, we were up for the same roles a lot of times too.
You and Dennis?
Yeah.
That whole scene in the 70s and the late 60s, it seemed like I think people had a better time. Do you?
No, it's all the same.
It is.
Yeah.
Is that what you learn as time goes on?
Yeah.
And are you still friends with Jack?
Oh yeah, we've been close friends for forever. We're still close.
What do you think of Hollywood in general, or just being out here? Because you seem to...
I don't know. I've always avoided the mainstream, actually, the Academy Awards and all that. I've never been to the Academy Awards, no.
Because?
I don't know.
Seems like bullshit, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The middle of the mainstream lies mediocrity.
I agree with that. Yeah. And for a guy like you that has been in as many movies as you've been in, and is sort of a notorious person in terms of the quality of work you do, and also just you're sort of a mysterious person to a lot of people. Do you have any regrets about how things went, or did you want? No.
Everything just goes down. Nobody's in charge.
Right.
It all just happens.
Yeah. Were there roles that you wanted to play that weren't able to play? Because you're known as one of the greatest character actors that ever lived. Was there a point in time where you're like, why am I not a leading man, or any of that kind of stuff?
Well, I played a lead in Paris, Texas.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was offered a series too by John Carpenter.
Oh, right. The guy you did Escape to New York.
I could have been much more famous and much richer than I am. I was offered a series of playing a private investigator of my own series, and I didn't take it.
Yeah, why?
I didn't want too much work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And TV's a little different.
Yeah, it's a 24-hour-a-day job, a series.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be
24/7.
Yeah, yeah, it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy? What do you do when you do a movie and you're on set for a long time, like with Paris, Texas? I mean, how do you occupy your brain when you're hanging around? Do you read? Do you think?
It's always different.
There's
no pattern.
No pattern?
No.
I thought it was interesting in the documentary that they kind of followed you around when you're out drinking. And yeah. Because I think it's a side that people don't necessarily see about about Hollywood in general, and that especially Dantana specifically has such a sort of mythic reputation.
Yeah, it's an institution.
Yeah. How long you been going there?
Since it opened, I think in 1964, I think.
And it was sort of like a watering hole for a whole generation of actors, right?
Yeah.
There was like a crew, right?
Yeah, I call it the Star Wars bar.
Who were some of the guys? Was it like Dabney Coleman?
Dabney Coleman, yeah, he's one of the main characters there. James Caan, Warren Oates, every actor in the business has been there. I think.
Right. I ate there once. I remember going there with my second wife, and all I remember about it was the food was good, but Ron Jeremy was in the booth next to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The porn star.
Yeah. When you sit up here now, after having the career you had, did you grow up with any religion?
Oh, yeah, I'm Southern Baptist.
Really?
Yeah.
Snakes?
Huh?
Snake handlers?
No,
None of that?
Didn't get that far into it. The Holy Rollers, I didn't get into that. Strictly Baptist.
Yeah.
Baptized.
Was there a fear of God and hell put into you early on?
It's all based on fear, all religions. Fear of God, a father figure.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. Do you remember when you decided that it was bullshit?
Yeah, sort of. They had these preachers would come through, evangelists.
Mm-hmm.
Brother Gibson was one of them.
Yeah.
we'd go down and shake hands with the evangelist after the sermon, you know. He shook hands with me. Give me your hand, man. He moved me on like that. And I thought then something's wrong with this picture.
He just kept you moving.
Yeah.
Do you have any? Do you have any spirituality now?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't have any beliefs. I believe in nothing. There's no beliefs.
But do you have happiness?
Happiness is how. There's an inscription on a Buddhist temple says, "How joyous I am now that I've learned there's no such thing as happiness."
So do you adhere to sort of that Buddhist idea then?
Oh, Buddhism, Taoism, and the Jewish Kabbalah, the real Kabbalah.
Right.
The Jews don't get it, and the Christians either, really. It's the same as the real Kabbalah is the same as Taoism and Buddhism.
And what are the principles there?
There's the word Tao in Chinese means the nameless.
Mm-hmm.
There's no definition for it,
mm-hmm.
but it's there.
Right. So and what in the Kabbalah? Because I don't have a God either, but I was brought up Jewish, but the Kabbalah seems like a mystical thing that's beyond my comprehension.
Well, it's the same as Buddhism and Taoism. There's no answer. No, there's no individual. There's no individual soul. There's no individual person. No individual identity.
Right.
It's all
one.
Yeah, it's all one.
And it's all right.
One big phantasmagoria.
Yeah. But fun is okay.
Huh?
It's good to have fun.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm going to have another lozenge here. Where do you want to go now? I'm the interviewer. Make it happen. Did you know Peckinpah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's another nut.
What movies did you do with him? Did you do any?
Yeah, I did Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, that's where I met Dylan.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan.
He's a little nutty, too.
Yeah, he's great, though.
What was it like working with Peckinpah? What kind of person was he?
He's nutty.
He's a wild man, right?
Yeah. Unpredictable, violent.
Yeah. You got a story?
Well, we opened the door and he's got a pistol in his hand. He had shot the television out and shot a picture off the wall, holding a gun in front of us.
Uh-huh.
And I backed out of the room and closed it.
You didn't want to be involved in that.
No.
And that was the end of it? You just walked away?
Yeah, Christopherson took the gun away from him, I think.
That was crazy times.
Yeah.
What was the scene with Bob Dylan?
We were jogging. We were jogging in a scene we were running across, and we're in the background of a shot.
Yeah. We
came back, and Peckinpah was screaming, "You fuckers, you ruined the shot. You're walking through the shot." And I said, "Well, I was after Dylan, trying to get him to stop," which was bullshit.
Just threw him under the bus.
Yeah.
When you hang out with Dylan, what the hell is that conversation like? I mean, he's a pretty deep dude.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had. He wanted me. I was in one. He did a movie. I think I was in that he directed. Had a lot of people in it. Joan Baez.
Oh, it's kind of a crazy movie, right?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, he did. I was in that. And we came back to L.A. and he asked me to come down to the recording studio in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And he was singing with the band then. And he wanted me to record, come down. And I was 2 hours late. I thought, well, he's got the band down there and everything. He'd been down there by himself waiting for me. Just me and him.
Uh-huh.
So we got together and sang, made a tape.
Uh-huh. Did you have it? Do you have it still?
I don't think. He asked me, "I want a copy," and I said no.
Oh.
Shooting myself in the foot.
What song did you sing?
Let's see, what did we sing? We sang a Mexican song, I think.
When did this passion for Mexican music take over?
Oh, when I was a kid, I saw these mariachis singing in westerns, and that's got me hooked on the sound.
The mariachi sound is with the. Sometimes there's horns, right?
Oh, they're the greatest musicians of all.
And they got the accordion too, correct?
Yeah, the accordion, the tuba.
Yeah.
The bass, especially the accordions and the tuba.
I learned that all that stuff came through Germany up through Mexico. It's fascinating, right?
Polkas,
yeah. The conjunto music.
Polka music, yeah.
Yeah. I have to assume was like it seems to me like in the 70s there was a lot of craziness. It just seemed like, because who I talked to, Sally Kellerman. Maybe it's not craziness. Maybe I just idealize it. Maybe they feel like people, were closer to the source end. There was more interesting things going on.
No, it's the same as it always was.
Yeah, just different players, different drugs, different haircuts, same shit.
It's all one big movie.
Yeah, everybody wants to just get in the movies.
They're in a movie. It's all a movie.
Is it?
Including our present conversation.
Oh, God. I hope it's a good movie. So you never got married, never had kids?
No, I might have had 2 or 3 out of marriage, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know for sure?
No, I've never had DNA tests, but...
they show up occasionally?
Yeah, one of them I'm pretty sure of, yeah.
Yeah? That's a contentious thing?
Contentious?
Yeah, I mean, you don't know, but you don't talk. You just don't.
Oh, yeah, we get along.
Oh, yeah?
Me and one of them, a couple more, I never see them. I haven't seen them in years.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They're just out there.
They were just from brief affairs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That must be a sort of a...
Yeah, it's a traumatic. It's not fun.
Yeah. But you didn't know about them for years, that kind of thing?
No, I knew about them pretty soon.
Yeah. So what would you like to do more movies? You just want to keep working?
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter?
No.
Do you feel like you're done?
Yeah, I'm tired of it.
Yeah. When you sit up here, do you feel okay?
I'm healthy, yeah.
That's pretty good. I really have a tremendous amount of respect for the genetic disposition that enables you to continue to enjoy yourself the way you do.
Yeah, it's just all that happens.
Yeah. Did your father live a long time?
He was 80 something, I think.
No, so he did all right.
Yeah, I can't remember how old he was when he died.
Yeah. You weren't very close to him by that point?
No, we were never really close.
Was there ever a sense that he was proud of you or liked what you were doing or anything?
I'm sure he was, yeah.
How about your mom? Did she see any of your movies or anything?
I can't remember.
Yeah. So what was your relationship like with your mom?
It was. We weren't close in a way. She favored my brother, I think, and
younger brother?
Yeah, I think she was dying, I think, and I sent her a little ceramic heart, and the nurse broke it and sent it back to me. I glued it back together and sent it back to her. So we were close at the very end. It's a personal story.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into it.
Yeah. Well, I think you've done great work, and I have a lot of respect for you, and it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're still around. So that was that interview with me and Harry Dean. Again, it was beautiful. I smelled like smoke when I left, and I wandered down the driveway with my bag of mics and recorders and my booms with his assistant saying, God, I just couldn't get through. I couldn't. And the assistant said, no, man, you did all right. You did all right. And I'm like, but why is he, you did fine. He did, that's what you get. And I'm like, all right, but could you just see if he likes me? So now I invited Sophie Huber over to the house to talk about her film Partly Fiction, but primarily because I knew I had that Harry Dean Stanton interview, and I'm like, I can't just put that up. I need to figure out where I went wrong or what happened, so I brought Sophie in to ask her what she was looking for, because I just was looking for a little connection, a little conversation, a little sort of reflection. So this is me, here in the garage talking to Sophie, who directed the film Partly Fiction, which I highly recommend, about her search for Harry Dean Stanton with Harry Dean Stanton. So your last name is pronounced Huber?
Yeah.
Sophie Huber?
That's right.
And you directed the film on Harry Dean Stanton. Harry Dean Stanton, what's the rest of it?
Partly Fiction.
Partly Fiction. I saw it.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, no, I like it. I love the film. I love Harry Dean Stanton, but he's one of those guys that we all know, we all wonder about, and after watching, I'll tell you exactly what my experience was. I thought the film was beautiful. It was thorough enough, but it wasn't really about being a thorough sort of assessment of his career. It was more of a poetic, cinematic portrait of a guy that's a pretty mysterious guy. Would you say that's a good assessment?
Yeah, because there's a reason why the film is like this.
Yeah.
First of all, it took a very long time to persuade him to agree to do it.
Yeah.
He really didn't want to do a documentary.
Yeah.
And he believes in living in the moment, so the past doesn't really interest him much.
Yeah.
Which makes a linear biography somewhat strange. So I wanted to create something that is more in his head, that you feel like you spend time with him rather than just telling, his story from A to Z.
Well, you could, because you could tell that story on your own. I mean, you could line up, you could sit there with the research and film clips and even narrate your own history of Harry Dean Stanton, but that wouldn't serve the same purpose.
Yeah, I think I wanted to create the sort of atmosphere that I experience when I'm with him, which to me is sort of relaxing.
Well, that's interesting, because I saw your film and then I went and interviewed Harry. And after seeing the film, having interviewed, 450 people, one-on-one, after seeing the film, I was like, this is not going to be easy. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to engage him in a way that would, be conversational. And even if I wait for him to answer, it might not really flesh out as an interview. I was nervous, and I found that I had a difficult time.
I guess it's difficult if you don't, if you film it, at least the pauses.
Right, you can see
are expressive.
Oh yeah. And no, I have a great deal of respect for him, and we all, like I said, most people who enjoy movies have some sort of relationship with that guy or wonder about that guy. When did your sort of fascination or history with Harry Dean Stanton begin?
Well, initially probably when I saw Paris, Texas, back in Switzerland, in the mid-'80s, I suppose.
Still? Do you live in
Switzerland? No, I
Switzerland?
live here in LA.
Yeah.
And it was just this, vision of America that was really fascinating, and this person sort of wandering in the desert, which is something to us that's very exotic because, we don't have deserts and we don't have characters like this.
Yeah.
And then I met him through a friend at Dan Tana's, the bar he hangs out every night.
Yeah. So you went to Dan Tana's with a friend in the 80s.
Well, in the 90s.
In the 90s.
Yeah, so 10 years later I met him. And I just felt I knew him, also because he reminded me of a really close friend of mine.
Uh-huh.
And we just developed a friendship, so we've known each other for 20 years now.
Uh-huh. Now, did you have a relationship with him? Were you dating the man?
Well, as much as you can date Harry Dean.
Okay, so
for 5 minutes.
You were romantically involved with him for a time.
For a very short period. A very long time ago.
Right. So, and then this movie, when did you start to get obsessed? So you had a romantic relationship with him, which is, fine, obviously. But
I'm glad you approve.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that, you're not alone.
I'm definitely not.
But the fascination, I don't know what your friendship was over, the period after that. I mean, it's because you've known him for 20 years or more. And what I felt in watching the film, outside of having a respect for the guy, that there is this feeling that, you want something, you're looking for something. I mean, I don't know exactly what your relationship is, but I felt during the film that I wanted to know more about this guy. And what ultimately happens when you watch the film is like you get a sense of his amazing being, but there's still a tremendous amount of mystery to that guy.
Yeah, and I think that's what interests me.
Yeah.
And there's just something that, well, maybe I should say also, before I started doing the documentary, I started recording songs with him.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was just, like incredibly moving, the way he sang.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. The song in Paris, Texas, and some of the songs I've heard him do elsewhere, it seems to be really where you can get a sense of where his heart is, almost.
Yeah. And that's where I felt where he was most truthful, where he really opens up.
Yeah.
In a way, emotionally, that he doesn't when he just talks.
Right.
And so that's how it all started. And then and he didn't want to do that either first.
Yeah.
And then also what happened, in his face, he's so expressive when he sings these songs. Mm-hmm. And to me, they're just heartbreaking, really.
So when you start looking at him through a lens and you start letting him sort of live and breathe there, because there's a part of him that lives there, on camera, that there's something about that guy that makes him so recognizable and so consistently visible in American cinema. And people, of my generation, I'm probably a little older than you. You remember him from Alien, you remember him from Repo Man, you remember him from Paris, Texas. And then as you get further into film, it's like, oh my God, there he is in that, and there he is in that. That there's some part of him that lives on film. And it happens naturally, I think. But do you find that after you shot the film and after you've spent this amount of time with him personally, that do you feel that your film did you get everything you wanted out of it?
I did get the feeling that I wanted, the sort of atmosphere, and I think. And that's what his friends say too, which makes me happy, that the film captures his essence somehow. Yeah. Without him, of course, I wanted him to talk a little more and so on, but that's why I had to find all these ways to fill the holes with clips and with songs. And then at the end, does it really matter if somebody exactly tells you what happened in their childhood, or is it as interesting if they... if you just know something went wrong.
Well, does it? Do you feel, because
in a way, I feel, no, you don't really need to know. Because a lot of the times if people actually say what exactly happened, it doesn't necessarily make you feel more
connected
to them.
I agree.
And he knows also, I think he plays a little bit with it, because... He knows that the mystery is what makes him interesting.
So he's aware of that?
I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah, because I felt that in talking to him, that the idea, like you said when you came in here, that he lives in the present and there's sort of some Buddhism involved, and it is what it is business. Like, I couldn't quite tell, and I guess I'm just going to talk to you about, my experience with my conversation with him and your relationship with him in the film, because I think the film is beautiful. And I think that what was amazing about it was that even when he was in relationship with David Lynch or Chris Christopherson, these guys are guys that have long-term sort of male bonds with this guy. You still don't get the feeling that he opens up and starts, telling stories and being funny. But I know there's got to be a couple of people in his life. He strikes me as the kind of guy that's got about 2 or 3 guys that he really trusts, and they're going to get the full treatment. They're going to see, they're going to accept him for exactly who he is, and if he needs to talk, he'll talk to them.
Yeah.
Do you feel that's true?
Yeah, that's true.
But my experience with him, with that Buddhist idea that, you know, the living in the present, it is what it is that I couldn't help but feel like, because there was one moment when I was talking to him about, you know, he brought up the same story that's in the film, the mother giving her the present, the box.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he told that story again, but then somewhere in the middle of it, he says, like, you know, but I don't want to, that's all I'm going to talk about it. Yeah, and that was a difficult thing. I'm not going to, you know, like there was something. So that implied to me that even though he lives in the present and he has this philosophical disposition about who he is in the world, that there is a heartbreak and that there is a struggle going on in there that would be, I agree with you, but it would be interesting to hear what that is, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I know parts of it, but of course I would, would only reveal whatever he reveals.
Well, sure.
But in a way, yeah, I mean, something went wrong, and that sort of pain, probably made him move through all these films and...
Yeah.
And the music.
And the need to sort of get out of himself or become other people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also, who many people do you actually talk to where you share your most personal issues?
Well, I do a lot, but I mean, I'm not normal. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what I do, and I find that when you do talk about it, but I was not in this position with Harry Dean, and I apologize if I'm just bringing in, I'm bringing in you into this conversation to somehow understand what exactly happened with me in my experience with him. But I've interviewed a lot of people, and a lot of people have been pretty candid with me. I guess what I'm getting at is that he's one of those guys, you project a lot onto. You want meaning out of that guy. I mean, and when you, even in the movie, you're like, wow, what's going on? Because he's such a brilliant actor and he's always been so mysterious. And, I wanted stories from the old days, but he kept saying, they were no different than today. I'm like, really? Come on.
Yeah, I know it's excruciating trying to interview him.
How many hours did you spend?
Well, actually, not that many. We were there at his house, maybe 8 afternoons and 2 hours,
Uh-huh.
So that was fine. It wasn't a huge amount of.
And also, you forget how old he is.
20 hours of silence.
Right. You forget how old he is. I mean, he's old.
He's 87.
Yeah, he's not. You know what I mean? Like, so there's part of you, because there is a timeless element to him because of all the movies and what we've seen of him. You don't really associate with him with an age, really. And even when you're sitting there, it's still like he's very purely Harry Dean Stanton. But then there's part of you that thinks, oh, he's 87. I mean, that's got to have some effect. Yeah. And how old was he when you met him? Was it 20 years ago?
Yes.
So he's like in his mid to late 60s?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was still sort of on fire, huh?
Yeah.
Why did you come to Hollywood?
Well, for 5 minutes I wanted to be an actress. But,
only 5 minutes? Yeah. And that quickly got beaten down?
Yeah, that did it.
What broke you? What made you realize, like, this ain't going to happen?
It was just too confusing to me.
Oh, yeah?
To be somebody else.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because, there's enough struggle in being you?
I guess.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Either I'm going to empty this out or I'm going to finish this. Doing other people. Yeah. Is this the first documentary you did?
Yeah.
Yeah? And what did Harry watch it?
Yeah, it premiered last year at the Venice Film Festival.
And he was there?
No.
Couldn't get him out. Couldn't get him on the plane.
No, and then I gave him a DVD then.
Yeah.
And he never watched the film. He's had it for 6 months and he never watched it. And then finally he came to the screening at the LA Film Fest.
Yeah.
And he liked it.
Yeah?
Except he said at the end, I look so fucking old.
He said, yeah, man.
But I could tell he liked it and he loved, the attention he's getting. Even he wouldn't admit that, but he was moved by. Yeah,
I mean he's making
standing ovation.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's fun. It's sweet. Do you find that there's a weird detachment from him and his work? I mean, outside, like, because when I was talking to him, I mean, there was a moment where I don't know why I'm just sitting here psychoanalyzing him with you, because I guess I want answers because I think you might have them. But there was a moment where I brought up, and I think you brought up as well in the film, the idea that, you know, he was never really a leading man, you know, and he was very quick to say, like, oh, Paris, Texas. You know, that was he there's part of me that thinks that this sort of like here and now business is a way for him to at least accommodate or you know, kind of comfort himself that it may not have really panned out the way he anticipated.
Well, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, he I don't think he would analyze it himself, but I think that's probably pretty much the case. Also, that he did more music after it didn't pan out, because he did think he would be a leading man after Paris, Texas.
Right.
And that didn't happen.
Right.
And I think it did hurt his ego, so he tried to find ways to detach from that ego.
Right, and sing and you know, and engage in a different way.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me because he's one of the most respected character actors that, you know, that's ever happened. But it's not, you know, you still got an ego. Yeah, and he was.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing, you know, because this whole Buddhist thing.
Yeah.
He's not entirely believable in it.
Yeah.
When you know, parts, yes, but then, yeah, he clearly does have an ego.
And anger.
And he has a funny way to interpret the whole Buddhist philosophy.
Right, yeah.
Sort of in a way where he can just say, well, I don't care about anything, I'm not responsible for everything. And, I mean, that's not probably how it was really meant to.
Right, he does.
He
does fuck it Buddhism.
Yeah.
You know, there's a fine line between the here and now and fuck it. Yeah, I definitely got that. You know, and we talked a little bit about, you know, his kids, you know, and that thing. Like, there just seemed in conversation with him that there was a lot there that he was just like on, you know, by personal policy not going to address, but it was right there under the surface, and there was anger there was complexity there, and it was just not, you know, he wasn't going to give it to me, and he gave you a little bit. But still, there, you know, you still feel that there's something palpable under there.
Yeah, it's interesting because he does always say exactly the same words. Like, if you ask him the same question again, he says it exactly the same way, with the same pauses, and at the same, you know, he says at the same position, he says, "I am not going to talk about it." So it's sort of it's like a prepared line,
like a personal script.
Yeah,
that's interesting, right? Well, Sophie, thank you for talking to me and rounding this out, because, you know, after talking to him, I just wanted to make sure that I did the film justice, because I really enjoyed the film. But I just thought it was hilarious that, you know, for me, you know, that after watching it, knowing that I was going to get to interview this guy who I respected a lot, but after watching the film, in my mind, I was like, well, if that's all she got out of him, you know, conversationally. Yeah. I mean, the film is a lot more than a conversation. Then I'm gonna have a hard time with her, you know. But it makes me feel better, and I think also bringing your perspective into it in terms of what you had to deal with, and in terms of how truly, you know, mysterious this guy is and remains. I think it helped me out.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't get more out of him than I did, because otherwise you should have done the documentary.
Thanks for talking to me, Sophie.
Thank you.
All right, that's the show, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. It was a unique experience. Remember, not a psychopath, not bipolar, just funny, and a bit inconsistent at that, I might add. Go to WTFpod.com, get all your WTF Pod needs met. Get that app. We're putting the premium content on that app and giving you a little primer, me and Brendan McDonald, telling you about the episodes in bulk, things you might have missed, doing the premium content thing. What else we got? JustCoffee.coop, of course, as always. If you get the WTF blend, I get a little bit on the back end of that. Leave a few comments. Check the episode guide, will you? Don't pester me. Thinky Pain, my most current special, is an hour and a half of me, being funny. Is available at Amazon. I'm gonna unveil that DVD in a bigger way on Monday. So I'm teasing the unveiling. Is that the right word? I always associate that word with a tombstone because I'm a Jew. Oh God, I gotta go shoot my show. I gotta go. It's morning. I'm all coffeed up. I've eaten my oatmeal.